G'day YouTubers, it's Ben here from Southeast Queensland Storms, back with you for another Southeast Queensland weather update. And your weather update starts now. Good afternoon Southeast Queenslanders, welcome to another Southeast Queensland weather update coming to you on this Wednesday the 17th of April 2024, and a very good afternoon to you where you are and tuning into this afternoon's forecast video. But before we get into the forecast video for today, just a reminder, if you like forecast videos like this and our other content you're seeing on our YouTube channel, then click that subscribe button and subscribe to us here on YouTube. And if you look at the top and bottom of your video screen, you will also see our social media details on the other major platforms, being Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or X, whichever you like to call it. So if you're on the four social media major platforms, then give us a like or a subscribe, and that way you've got all the latest weather information at your fingertips for Southeast Queensland. All right, let's jump into your weather update for today. And looking at the forecast model data this afternoon, Southeast Queensland does remain on track to see some wet weather return to the region through tomorrow afternoon and into early tomorrow night. And that's in the form of some showers and thunderstorm activity. And be reminded, some thunderstorms could have the potential to reach severe thunderstorm limits with damaging winds, large hail and heavy rainfall all possible. And then, as forecast models tend to do, they've thrown up a bit of a curveball this afternoon, because as we move into this weekend, the model data is now suggesting the development of an upper level cut-off low, which has the potential to generate some moderate to heavy rainfall along the central Queensland east coast areas and areas slightly inland. And we'll take a look at that system as we get towards the end of today's forecast video. But let's jump into your update for today, firstly focusing on the thunderstorm potential for Southeast Queensland for the remainder of today and into tomorrow. So looking at current satellite and radar imagery, this afternoon we are seeing some cloudy conditions beginning to move across Southeast Queensland this afternoon, so some cloud around this afternoon. But of note, we're also monitoring some non-severe thunderstorm activity down near Boona and towards the south of Rathdowney, towards the Queensland-New South Wales border, and also to the south of Stanthorpe on the southern parts of the Darling Downs Granite Belt down towards the Queensland-New South Wales border as well. So storm activity this afternoon is isolated, it is not widespread, and you can see little cells just popping up near Boona, south of Rathdowney and down near Stanthorpe, and those cells near Boona and Rathdowney are moving towards the south-southwest, so down towards the Queensland-New South Wales border ranges area. And if we take a look elsewhere around Southeast Queensland, not a lot to really talk about apart from the cloudy conditions, but no weather of significance or severity at the moment. Just those two non-severe storms popping up near Boona, Rathdowney, and also one now starting to develop to the south of Stanthorpe. And if we take a deeper dive and look at our current radar imagery, we can see firstly non-severe storm indicated by that little white line just there to the south of Rathdowney, right along the Queensland-New South Wales border range area. It does look to have some moderate to burst of heavy rainfall with it, and as it continues to track in towards northern New South Wales from over the border. We're also seeing a non-severe storm near Boona approaching towards Cunningham's Gap. It is moving towards the south-southwest as well. The similar story with the storm on the Queensland-New South Wales border to the south of Rathdowney. We're also seeing some non-severe storm activity to the south of Stanthorpe along the Queensland-New South Wales border. And again, that looks to be a little bit slow moving at the moment and not really taking a particular direction. So two non-severe storms in the southern parts of southeastern Queensland this afternoon. Just got a little isolated shower between Jimna and Yarraman, and then elsewhere on radar there's nothing really to talk about. So non-severe storms, one at Boona moving towards Cunningham's Gap, looks to have some moderate rainfall with it. Another cell to the south of Rathdowney moving to the Queensland-New South Wales border ranges over into northern New South Wales, looks to have some moderate to bursts of heavy rainfall with it, and then another non-severe storm to the south of Stanthorpe along the Queensland-New South Wales border range as well. And if we take a look at the internal bomb thunderstorm tracker, we can see there's the Bureau picking up on those two storms that we just looked at on radar. Firstly, the one moving towards Cunningham's Gap, and the second one to the south of Rathdowney along the Queensland-New South Wales border, pushing over into northern New South Wales. Elsewhere, no other thunderstorms detected on radar. Let's take a look at your temperatures currently across southeast Queensland, and we're going to start out on the Darling Downs Granite Belt for our residents out there today. In the southern parts, Gundawindi and Inglewood both sitting on 28 degrees, Stanthorpe sitting on 20 degrees, Warwick sitting on 24. It's currently 21 degrees at Toowoomba, 24 at Oakey, 25 at Dalby and Chinchilla both respectively, and 26 degrees at Miles. Heading up towards the northeast, up towards the Wide Bay Burnett district, we've got 23 degrees at Kingaroy, 24 at Gympie, 26 at Gayndah. It's also 26 degrees at Bundaberg, 25 degrees respectively at both Hervey Bay and Maryborough, 24 degrees at Tincamp Bay. And coming down towards the Sunshine Coast, 25 degrees at Tewantin, 25 at Marcoola, 24 degrees at Maroochydore. It's 23 degrees at Donnybrook, 25 degrees over at Margate at the Redcliffe Peninsula, 24 degrees on Moreton Island at the Brisbane Airport, sitting on 24 degrees. The Brisbane CBD sitting on 25, and then it's 24 degrees at Parkinson on Brisbane's south side, as well as 24 degrees at Victoria Point on Brisbane's Bayside. Munrooban sitting on 24 as well, Ipswich on 25, it's 24 degrees at Gatton. There's that non-severe storm that we're seeing on radar near Cunningham's Gap, just to the west of Boona there, near Muggera and Maryvale. Again, looking to have some moderate to a little sudden little burst of some heavy rainfall with it. And then another non-severe storm to the south of Rathdowney. And you can see in that yellow-red area there some bursts of moderate to heavy rainfall with that as well. But temperatures 24 degrees at Bow Desert, it's 24 degrees at Helens Vale, and it's 23 degrees at Canungra. So all temperatures across the southeast today sitting all in those low mid to high 20s. All right, let's jump into your official forecast information from the professionals at the Bureau of Meteorology. This was issued at 4:30 this afternoon. And in their weather situation, the Bureau is firstly talking about a weak trough over the southern interior of the state is continuing to move towards the east, and very likely that trough will move offshore and clear our coast as we get through late tomorrow and into Friday. But as a result of that trough system passing our region, we're likely to see that increased potential for showers and thunderstorm activity. And then you'll notice in the weather situation, the Bureau also talking about that approaching upper level cut-off low, which may enhance rainfall for parts of southeastern and central Queensland as we get into this weekend and into early next week. And I'll have a look at that system towards the end of this forecast video for you. But two key parts from the weather situation this afternoon. That weak trough over the southern interior continues towards to move the east over the next 24-48 hours. As it does, triggers showers and thunderstorm potential for southeast Queensland, and then we start to focus our attention to that approaching upper level cut-off low, which may enhance rainfall for parts of southeastern and central Queensland as we get into this weekend and into early next week. For the remainder of today, Wednesday the 17th, the Bureau is talking about the chances of thunderstorm activity across the southern and southeastern inland parts of southeast Queensland and also the Gold Coast. And we've already covered that on radar. We can see non-severe storms popping up near Boona, Cunningham's Gap, Rathdowney as well, down towards the Queensland-New South Wales border and to the south of Stanthorpe. So the Bureau pretty much on the money there. As we get into tomorrow, though, we see isolated to scattered showers becoming possibly widespread at times through the southeastern interior parts of southeast Queensland. We also see the chance of thunderstorms in southeastern Queensland tomorrow. So the Bureau on board with showers and thunderstorm potential for southeast Queensland tomorrow. And then as we get into the weekend, Saturday the 20th and Sunday the 21st, you can see here the Bureau talking about isolated showers in the eastern districts, tending to be scattered and widespread about parts of central and southeastern Queensland. Possible heavy rainfall in central and southeastern parts, but this is all dependent on the movement and development of that upper level cut-off low, with heavy rainfall which could be possible. And it's a similar story for Sunday. Isolated showers eastern districts becoming scattered to widespread for parts of central southeastern Queensland. Possible heavy rainfall in the central and southeastern parts, but again it's all dependent on the movement of that upper level cut-off low and where it establishes itself. And I'll show you why very shortly in this forecast video, why that's a key aspect to keep in mind. And as we get into Monday and into Wednesday of next week, we can still see the Bureau talking about scattered to widespread showers for central and southeastern Queensland with possible heavy rainfall in those parts. But again, it's all dependent on the movement and development of the upper level cut-off low. So that's your official forecast from the professionals at the Bureau. And now let's go district by district. Firstly, for our residents on the Darling Downs Granite Belt, for the remainder of today, partly cloudy conditions with a high chance of showers and the chance of a thunderstorm in the southern areas. And on radar, we're already seeing that with non-severe thunderstorm activity to the south of Stanthorpe along the Queensland-New South Wales border range. As we get into tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions continue for the Darling Downs Granite Belt with a high chance of showers in the south with a medium chance of elsewhere and the chance of a thunderstorm. For our members in the South East Coast district, similar story. Partly cloudy conditions will remain for the remainder of today with a medium chance of showers and a chance of a thunderstorm in the southern areas. And again, going back to radar, there we go. We can see non-severe thunderstorm activity near Boona, Cunningham's Gap and down near Rathdowney and the Queensland-New South Wales border. So again, the Bureau pretty much on the money with their forecast. As we get into tomorrow, partly cloudy conditions remain. Again, medium chance of showers, most likely during our afternoon and early evening hours, and the chance of a thunderstorm. And for our members in the Wide Bay Burnett District, for the remainder of today, partly cloudy conditions, medium chance of showers through this afternoon. And then as we get into tomorrow, those cloudy conditions remain, and a high chance of showers near Fraser Island, medium chance elsewhere, and then the chance of the thunderstorm in those southern areas back towards the northern parts of the Southeast Coast District. And if you're wondering what areas I'm talking about there, this is the Southeast Coast Forecast District, and this is the Wide Bay Burnett. So in those southern parts towards the northern parts of the Southeast Coast, anywhere from Gympie, Kingaroy, Nanango, Yarraman, Imbil, down through to like Woodford, Sunshine Coast, Toogoolawah-esque down that way. And that's for the Wide Bay Burnett. So again, you can see the Bureau all talking about in their official forecast, chance of showers and thunderstorms for the remainder of today and as we get into tomorrow. All right, let's jump into some model data now, and let's have a look at what the model data is giving us this afternoon. But just a reminder to you all that the following forecast information I give you from this point of the video onwards is reflective of an amateur storm chaser only, and not that of a professional or qualified meteorologist. For all official forecast information, I urge you to visit the BOM at www.bom.gov.au/Queensland. All right, firstly, starting with our forecast information in relation to tomorrow's thunderstorm potential. This is the ACCESS-C, or the Bureau of Meteorology's weather forecast model, and this is the forecast radar that we're taking a look at. So this particular chart anticipates what the weather radar may look like at a particular time as we go through tomorrow. So this is taking firstly a look at as we start at 11 o'clock tomorrow, and we can see the possibility of some showers and some thunderstorm activity popping up along those southern parts of the Darling Downs Granite Belt near Inglewood, Stanthorpe, over towards Warwick, Killarney that way. And then as we roll it out and we go through tomorrow, as we come into 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we can see that the big band of showers and embedded thunderstorms starts to develop in a line and starts to track from the west towards the east. But again, some of these storms having the potential to be severe in nature, with damaging winds, large hail, heavy rainfall all possible. And again, looking in those areas of red and very, very light purple is where the severe storm potential could lie. So through parts of the central eastern parts of the Darling Downs through to the Lockyer Valley Scenic Rim. And then as we roll through, I'll just bring that back out, as we get into 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock tomorrow. So this is 4 o'clock tomorrow. Again, we can see that line of embedded thunderstorms and some showers moving forward. And then as we roll this out, and we'll roll it out to 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we can see that activity contracting from the west towards the east. Again, possibility of some severe thunderstorm activity through areas to Brisbane's west, Ipswich, Amberley, Rosewood, up towards Eskbo Desert. Again, those areas of red and light purple indicate where the potential for severe thunderstorm activity could be. And as we go through to 7 o'clock tomorrow night, 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we see that activity starting to reach the coast in areas from Brisbane right through the north side up through Caboolture to Gymnut Mergen, all in a line, all the way from the Gold Coast extending all the way possibly up to Mergen. We see a line of showers and storms pushing from the west towards the east. Again, storms having the potential to be severe with damaging winds, large hail, heavy rainfall. And then as we move into 9 o'clock tomorrow night and then into 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock tomorrow, we see the activity beginning to clear the coast as we get through late tomorrow night. So as you can see on the forecast radar, tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night is when we expect to see the peak time for that thunderstorm activity. And one thing I want to stress here, obviously, in terms of tomorrow's thunderstorm potential, high wind shear values. So I've got the wind shear values on your screen here. So due to these high wind shear values tomorrow, this wind shear that you see looks to increase the severe thunderstorm potential tomorrow, again with some thunderstorms possibly being severe in nature with damaging winds being a risk. Now, even though the atmospheric instability values tomorrow look to be low, this high values of wind shear or this vertical wind shear looks to give some storms a little bit of extra oomph, or pack a little bit more of a stronger punch as we get into tomorrow. And as we can see, the storm motion moving from the northwest to the west towards the east-southeast. And now this is starting at 1 o'clock tomorrow, so we can see wind shear values possibly up around the 20 knots as we get into tomorrow afternoon. And I'll just roll this out, see what we'll go through. So we'll roll this out to 4 o'clock, and we can still see wind shear beginning to increase. So the wind shear value is becoming a little bit stronger, up to 20-25 knots from the west to the east. So again, these high values of wind shear, and if we take it back throughout the course of tomorrow, so if we take it back to early tomorrow morning, so this is 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, we can see the wind shear is not as strong, with wind shear values sitting pretty much in the 5 to 10 knot range in that light to dark blue area. And then as you get up into like the really dark or the dark grey green, the light green, we see those wind shear values start to increase as we go through. And then as we get into tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock, you can see that wind shear really starting to pick up across southeast Queensland, 20 to 25 knots from the west to the east, feeding those storms. And that's why the storms tomorrow will have the potential to start in the west and then make their way all the way to the coast, which is what you saw on the forecast radar in the previous chart. Again, wind shear values possibly pushing up into the 25s. Up into the 25-30 mark range, to the areas further north of Caboolture, up through Jimna, Kingaroy, Mergen as well. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Those high wind shear values tomorrow look to increase the severe thunderstorm potential for tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. And again, your storm motion is from the west to the east. But having said that, as like many southeast Queensland thunderstorm days are across our region, some areas will see a storm, some areas will see some showers, but some areas will miss out entirely as well. So, but again, excuse me, looking at that forecast radar, you can see a big band of showers and storms moving from the west to the east tomorrow. So a very good majority of southeast Queensland looks to see something as we go through tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow night. And rainfall totals for tomorrow, this is the Access C Southeast Queensland high resolution model from the Bureau. As we can see, the Bureau talking about the potential for some moderate rainfall down around the Scenic Rim, Gold Coast hinterland areas. Again, rainfall anywhere from possibly 10 millimetres up to 20, 25, 30, 40 millimetres in through Bow Desert up to Amberley, out through the Scenic Rim to the Lockyer Valley. Some possible heavier falls along the Gold Coast hinterland, Queensland, New South Wales border ranges, possibly up to 50, 60 millimetres as a result of tomorrow's wet weather. And then rainfall widespread across the Darling Downs, anywhere from 10 possibly up to 25, 30, 40 millimetres. Again, this is a guide only. It's not 100% accurate. It's just an indication of what where the rainfall could be. But you can see pretty much a good majority of southeast Queensland, apart from some isolated areas that look to miss out, but other areas, there looks to be some sort of rainfall in the forecast for tomorrow. But again, severe storms, if they do pop up tomorrow, could have the potential to deliver some very, very heavy rainfall. With them is what we saw a couple of weeks ago at Burpengary, where a slow-moving severe storm moved through and dumped over 120 millimetres of rain in a 1 or 2 hour space. But slow-moving storms don't look to be the case tomorrow because of the wind shear values. The wind's pushing them along. They look to be quite strong, so storms will obviously make their way from the west towards the east. So that's your look at your storm potential for tomorrow. Now let's get into this upper level cutoff low that we're looking at as we get into this weekend. So forecast model data this afternoon indicates that the upper level trough that is responsible for triggering our showers and storms through tomorrow is likely to push off our coast as we get through into Friday. So this upper level trough in here clears over the next 24 to 48 hours. But at the same time, you can see down through Victoria here, Victoria into New South Wales, as we get into Friday, we have another upper level trough sitting just right through here into New South Wales. So this one that triggers showers and storms tomorrow pushes off by late tomorrow night, Friday. It's done its job, it's gone. We then turn our attention and focus to this upper level trough in New South Wales through from Victoria into New South Wales. The reason we turn our attention to it, it's because this upper level trough looks to move towards the north as we go through Friday and into Saturday. So as that upper level trough moves northwards over the coming days, by Saturday, forecast data suggests that the upper level trough then cuts off into a cut-off upper level low. So let's roll this out and go through. 7 o'clock Friday night, 10 o'clock, we can see the trough shifting towards the north. It's making its way up towards Queensland, and as we get into early Saturday morning, it's come back out. Let's just skip that back to 7 a.m. We can see here, we can start to see the cut-off low, 7 a.m. Saturday. And let's bring it out to 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, and there it is, whooshka. There's that upper level cut-off low. How do we know it's a cut-off low? Because in the southern hemisphere, low pressure systems rotate anti-clockwise and high pressure systems rotate anti-clockwise. So there's your clockwise rotating upper cutoff low. There's the upper level cutoff low just there. Now, what's the result of that? On the northeastern and the eastern side of the system is the potential for moderate to heavy rainfall on the northeastern and eastern side of that system. However, the key point to make here, and the key point that I want to stress, is that the positioning and development of this cutoff upper level low will ultimately decide where the potential for the heavy rainfall exists. And for a couple of examples, so for example, if the cutoff low develops further to the west, so if it's further out here near Charleville, it's out in Western Queensland, southwestern Queensland, if it stays out here, then inland areas to the northeastern and eastern side of that system, so in your mind, put this system back over here. If this was to occur, we see the system back here in Western Queensland, then the areas on the northeastern, eastern side gets dragged in further inland. The areas further inland then become more susceptible to the potential for moderate to heavy rainfall. That's if the system comes out further to the west. However, if the cutoff low, like this access model current data is showing, develops or moves further towards the east, so it's closer to the coast, what does that mean? Well, if it's closer to the coast, then the heavy rainfall is very likely to remain offshore with the associated surface trough. So it's very, very simple. If the cutoff low comes closer to the coast, heavy rainfall stays offshore. If it goes further to the west, then a bigger area of inland of the central Queensland east coast, anywhere from Rockhampton down towards Gympie, possibly down to the sunny coast, looks to be at risk of moderate to heavy rainfall if the system develops and stays further to the west. If it comes in further towards the east, towards the coast, then the chances of the heavier rainfall staying offshore increase. So that's the key point I want to make. It's all dependent on where this cutoff low goes and where it positions itself. That will ultimately decide where the potential for that heavy rainfall exists. And again, that's on the northeastern and eastern side of the system. Not on the west, not on the southwest, but on the northeastern and eastern side of the system. At this stage, the impacts for southeast Queensland appears that we will avoid the potential for the moderate to heavy rainfall, but as always, I will continue to monitor the data as we get into tomorrow and into Friday. So that's the Bureau model. There's the cutoff low by Saturday. Let's take a look at the European model. And very, very similar story. You can see the European model focusing on that upper level trough on Friday through New South Wales. And then as we go through 10 o'clock Friday, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock Saturday, we can see there it is starting to cut itself off. That upper trough moving north up into Queensland, but it's starting to cut itself off. And then by 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, we can see the cutoff low just there. Now, you notice the difference between the Bureau model. The Bureau model has the system further to the east on the Darling Downs Granite Belt around Toowoomba by Saturday afternoon. The Euro model has it further to the west, out towards Charleville, Maranoa, Warrego district, out that way. So that's something to be mindful of. Remember, that key point that I'm stressing is that the location of this cutoff low will ultimately decide where the potential for that heavy rainfall exists. And that's what the Bureau of Meteorology was talking about in their forecast. Remember, the Bureau stressed many, many times the potential for heavy rainfall through central and southeastern Queensland is all dependent on the location and development of this upper level cutoff low. And if we take a look at Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, you can see that cutoff low triggering on that northeastern eastern side of the system. Moderate rainfall. You can see the European model suggesting, because the system is further to the west, Saturday afternoon into Saturday night, you can see the European models bringing the heavier rainfall all into further inland areas from the central Queensland coast through Rockhampton, out towards Billawheeler, Dingo, out that way, and down the coast towards Agnes Water as well. Now let's take this out through Saturday night into Sunday. You can see rain, possible moderate to heavy rainfall all the way from Rockhampton down towards Bundaberg in inland areas, Billawheeler, Taroom, Eidsvold, as we get into Sunday, and then that continues right through into early next week with that heavy rainfall all from Rocky down to Agnes Water, Bundaberg. You can see southeast Queensland really not getting in on the heavy stuff, and that heavy rainfall, moderate rainfall, is likely to persist into early next week. Now this is Monday, and you can start to see the rainfall beginning to contract further down towards the south. But again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week is far too early to tell and to give you a proper, appropriate forecast. And as we get into Tuesday, you can see the potential for heavy rainfall shifting all the way down through the Sunshine Coast, down out towards the eastern side of the Darling Downs Granite Belt, the Lockyer Valley Scenic Rim, through Brisbane's north side. But again, that's next Tuesday. We're only sitting on Wednesday. We're only sitting on Wednesday. It's far too early to tell, and I'm not going to give you a look or an opinion on what we could see by Tuesday of next week, because the key point is, where does this cut-off low establish itself over the weekend? And that's the key to it. So if we take a look at AI modelling as well, the Fushi model on the AI, you can see they're clearly picking up on the cut-off low as well as we get into Saturday. It's a similar story on the AIFS European model. Very, very good agreement with the Fushi, picking up on the upper level cut-off low there, and it's the same on GraphCast as well. So all three AI models all picking up on the development of that cut-off upper level low as well. But again, the key point is, it's all dependent where the heavy rainfall is. It's all dependent on the location of that cut-off upper level low as we get into Saturday and Sunday of this weekend. But as always, I will stay across it for you. So that's going to conclude this afternoon's forecast video. I hope you got some useful information out of it. If you did, drop a comment in the video below, or more importantly, give us a subscribe here on YouTube. But for tomorrow, expect some wet weather in the form of showers and thunderstorms, and please remember that some storms tomorrow have the potential to reach severe thunderstorm limits, and that's due to those high wind shear values as well, giving those storms that extra oomph and possibly that little bit of an extra punch as well. Damaging winds, large hail, heavy rainfall, all could be possible with storm activity tomorrow. Remember, storms look to form in the west as we get into tomorrow afternoon, and then push towards the east as we go through tomorrow afternoon and into tomorrow night. And then as we get into the weekend, we're watching very closely the development of this cut-off upper level low, and to see what impacts it has for the central and southeastern Queensland parts. So with that said, tune in tomorrow. I'll have another forecast video for you tomorrow. But in the meantime, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you on the next forecast video. Have a great evening.